Hi everyone and welcome to part 2 book club episode Who Cares, we've stopped counting. Today is a review, so we are doing back-to-back reviews this time, which is somewhat unusual for us, but we do have a really exciting guest we're lining up for the next podcast, so more on that to come. The book that we are reviewing today was Alicia's book pick. If anyone is fans of our Instagram page, you will have seen our first reactions to this. So this episode the predictions are it's going to be spicy, not the book. Alicia, do you want to kick us off on The Love of My Afterlife by Kirsty Greenwood, and a little bit about why you chose this particular
I do also realise that the title is actually pretty awful, so cheesy. However, the reason why I chose it was because the last book was really good, and I felt like it was a bit too classy. So we wanted to bring it down a level to the romance genre again, and because Sarah doesn't like fairies and romantasy, we thought that maybe choose something that isn't so, boy meets girl in a small hick town. Like, I've got it here, like this one, first ever book. I wanted something that was a bit different to the usual. So did a little bit of 10-minute research on Google and it came up with this gem. Well, we can talk about it because I don't think it's that bad. And yeah, this is what looked like a pretty solid choice for a romance novel that isn't boy meets girl in the real world. You know what I mean?
It's not paranormal, but it's sort of
exactly. That was the word.
Like supernaturally.
Exactly. Not paranormal. No vampires, right? No werewolf.
Always appreciate the lack of vampires and werewolves.
Somewhere in between.
Now, what's quite surprising about your intro is it absolutely contained nothing about the book, which is normally
normally complete spoilers.
You wanted us. You said, why did I choose the book? That was the question.
And a little bit about the book.
Oh, I didn't hear. No, I wasn't listening. And what happens? Well, there's a girl called Delphi who's
you don't have to go blow by blow.
Okay.
I love this
one extreme to the other.
There's a girl, FMC. Do we call it that, Sean? Yeah, you see, I'm learning. She's called Delphi, and Delphi is a little bit like sad. She's got a little bit of a sad life going on there, and she basically she chokes on something, and then it takes her into the afterlife.
Microwave burger.
A burger, and then there she meets an angel or whatever. It's an angel
Mary,
who basically says
therapist.
Yes, okay, and she meets this hot guy, and the lady angel was like, okay, we can send you back to Earth if you can meet hot guy and get him to kiss you, but you can't kiss him. He has to actually fall in love, kiss you passionately. And then you can stay on Earth and be together. 10 days, exactly. So that was a challenge. And I feel like there's a film like this, actually.
The Little Mermaid?
Okay, yes!
Before the sun sets on the third day.
Oh my God.
I've already made a video review about this to post going forward. And I pretty much said that exact thing.
It's The Little Mermaid, but...
It's an insult to The Little Mermaid.
The Little Mermaid is not The Little Mermaid.
No, I said they get their Little Mermaid on, and Ursula themselves a deal.
There's a deal,
Christian
exactly.
Anderson is turning in his grave at the comparison.
Inspired by The Little Mermaid, let's put it that way. Anyway, and so, as you can imagine, things happen,
You have never.
But this is like the most vague outline you've ever given, Alicia.
That's the wrong person.
If this book doesn't skyrocket to the top of the bestseller list after that, I don't know what's going to get it there, frankly. Anyway, why don't we start with
not Alicia.
I'm going to start with Sean only because I sort of already know what Sarah's is. So we might go not hate it, not hate it, like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Get a balanced view.
Yeah. It's so balanced. So controversially, I am in the minority camp here where I actually enjoyed the book. It was silly. Oh, why is everything reconnecting? Am I still here? Am I still
Yeah.
Oh,
You're not in the afterlife.
no, in the am I in Evermore?
Oh my god, the name! Just
okay, I'm back. Yeah, so it was silly, but it was intentionally silly, and I went into the book just thinking it was going to be really silly, light-hearted, kind of amusing, just a bit of fun for a light palate cleanser, nothing serious. And I went in with that frame of mind, and I enjoyed it from that frame of mind. It was light and it was fluffy. There were bits that annoyed me, obviously, but I actually, when you guys were sending your your first impressions and saying how much you hated it, I was like, my god, this is going to be so bad. And I started reading it and I was like, oh my god, they're going to hate me because I like it.
I hate you, Shani.
You are entitled to your own opinion.
I am.
You're
No,
wrong.
I did enjoy it. Do you want me to go in depth, or are we just doing like skim the surface?
Just do surface for now.
Okay, I liked it. The end.
The end.
Sarah, let's go.
me.
Yeah,
Me?
we're going love, hate, love, hate. Well, love, hate, like, hate.
Oh, I mean, I think I thought it was very poor. It was, and I get it. It had big shoes to fill. We came off the back of All the Colours of the Dark, which I truly loved, and I think the first thing I did, and I went straight into this. I don't normally do that, but I was buoyed. I was like, "Look, book club's ace." I just read All the Colours of the Dark, and I'm thrilled. So I'm going to get this because I trust Alicia.
That's where you went wrong.
And I started reading it, and I think I sent Zara a video quite quickly, and I was like, "Have you started?" Because I need to talk to someone who started this book because it's not very good. I think so Sean, you said silly, and I think the way I interpreted it was she was trying to be funny.
See, I did find it amusing.
No. I thought it missed. No, I thought it just missed the mark. I think it was so unbelievable. Like, I almost can buy vampires, werewolves, fairies more than I could believe this kind of idiotic character in the afterlife or evermore. Texting her or contacting her through a TV or whatever, trying to puppeteer this love story. I think it was very obvious, literally like a couple of chapters in, that it was going to be Cooper, and it wasn't going to be. So I think in that sense as well, it was extremely predictable.
It was very predictable.
I like Mr. Yoon. I thought the relationship with,
it was so cute.
It was cute.
Yes, Teddy. Like it was nicer.
Cute.
It just it was cute. It just. I think I described it to you, Zara, as like it's bad in a really inoffensive way. Like no one's reading this book and going, I hate myself for reading it. I hate this book. It's not offending anyone. It was just a bit crap.
I didn't mind it. I went in knowing exactly what it was trying to be, so I didn't think it wasn't trying to be All the Colours of the Dark. It was meant to be a light-hearted rom-com of a silly book. And I think because I read another book in between All the Colours of the Dark and this one, and that one, was trying to be funny. I found this one a little easier to, like, the humour in it. I didn't mind so much. I did think, very predictable. Yes, it was. Of course, it's not going to be. I mean, it's set of her going into the afterlife, so all the things that happen are not meant to be believable because it's so far-fetched anyway. So I didn't mind that because I knew it wasn't trying to be serious. Quite like the relationship with Cooper. I thought it was quite sweet. Predictable again, but she wasn't so annoying. Like I think in Runaway Love, I think when the female main character is really, really annoying, that really puts me off. Whereas I know you guys probably hated it, but I didn't mind Alfie. I could see what, she was then making friends, and her life was actually going somewhere through all of this. So you could see what the writer was doing, is to say, actually, you could have all these, you could have a relationship, you can have friendships, you don't have to be this sad person on their own with no friends. And at the end, like the party wasn't just for Mr. Yu, it was like actually she had people, and that was quite sweet. I think I read it at a good time where I thought, I'm not going to be really, I won't criticize it, because I know exactly what it's trying to do and be. And maybe if we read this earlier on, I think I would have been like you, Sarah, like, what the hell is going on? This is ridiculous. But now it's like, okay, I've read quite a lot of romance novels now, romanticies and all these, and I'm like, actually, I've read a lot worse. So I didn't mind it. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it. So I'm quite like, yeah, it's all right. It's okay.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Zara.
Look, I did not like it. Yeah, I did not like it. So I didn't like it because it was bad. Well, no, let me take that. There was nothing offensive in it. One of the things that did really put me off is that they've put Colleen Hoover's quote on the front of the book. And I was like, immediately going in a bit like, I don't know if she's someone I would necessarily... Anyway, but look, my issue with this is that it was really lazy writing. There was stuff in it that it was just lazy. And I said when I've recorded my impression video, I took it out when I edited it, but I said it felt like almost like young adult fiction. It was just the way it was written just didn't feel rich. It felt incredibly lazy and flat. Things like she lives in a flat in Bayswater, and she's like a single woman in her 20s with a regular job. That's never going to happen. There's a part in it where she says something about she's going to go to East London. She's never been to East London before.
Yeah.
What? Just, and the way that I think that the main character was written was quite demeaning to her. And this notion that you need love to be happy, and that would be the only reason that would keep you out of the afterlife. And I don't know, there was just a really weird subplot in there around, this poor lonely woman. And you just think like, and the book tells, like, the kind of sub story is that she wasn't alone. Like, she had people around her who loved her and appreciated. I don't know, it was just, the whole thing was just so odd. But I think, like, if you do have limited time in your day and you use reading as an escape, and I've seen a few people say this as well, like, reading's not well, in this case it is a bit of a job because we were doing this and I had to finish it, but reading
true.
isn't a job. So if I didn't, in normal course of things, I wouldn't have finished it. I would have just been like, I'll chalk that one up to, because I didn't really care what happens. Well, I already knew what happened in the end.
Yeah, it's easy to figure out.
You really summed it up a lot, actually. I probably should have said this like prior. Like, you're right. Like, it's not a job, but if I had a choice, I wouldn't have finished Bride, and I likely wouldn't have finished this one. Like, or Runaway Love.
Yeah, there's a few. I think I'd probably put the second one in there as well. I definitely probably wouldn't have finished chapter 2.
I wouldn't have even picked up the Duke.
And the Duke. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. So the book I read right before this was, I think I sent you guys a message. It was what the fuck have I just read?
Yeah. Oh,
literally,
gosh.
like the point of view of a serial killer. Like, I posted it today. Yeah. So that was the book I read just before this. So this was a lovely departure from that. So yeah, I think that is a good shout, actually, that if you're in the mood for it and if you like that kind of thing anyway. don't get me wrong, I did have some negatives with it. So, for example, I actually really didn't like Merritt, the afterlife therapist.
Yeah, I didn't really either.
didn't like her.
Weird.
I actually there were parts of the end that I didn't like. The whole, sorry, big spoilers, people. The Merritt and Cooper reunion, that just felt so forced.
That was weird. Yeah.
And false, like, he's just standing there in shock and like, where's the running to each other? Where's the collapsing in a heap of tears? Like, that's your twin, like, who's been dead for 5 years. Like, what is this reunion? I didn't like that. I thought that was shit. And there was another so when she finally gets to speak to Jonah and she just completely fucks it up, like,
yeah,
you've been trying for a week to speak to this guy and I don't know, she just like lost every single brain cell that she ever possessed. I was like, what is this? And also, I don't really understand the point of why Cooper was an author. It didn't go anywhere. It didn't play into anything whatsoever.
Yeah.
Apart from that, the librarian recognized him. Apart from that, it didn't go anywhere. So I was like, oh, why is it big secret? Like, why was this big reveal that he's an author? Nothing happened with it.
And the same with that friend that she meets that bullied her.
Jen.
Yeah. Like, why add that in if it's not going to go anywhere?
Did nothing.
Yeah. There was no real closure. No. Like, I think there was an attempt at closure, but it
well, she decided she didn't want to be, because the lady was like, oh, you know Cooper, let's hang out. And she's like, no, actually, let's not hang out. But also, yeah, like you say, it could have been a bit more.
It could have been literally anybody could have like known him and given her the address or whatever. So to what you said, Zara, about the whole flat in Bayswater, she's in her 20s, that kind of thing. It actually didn't feel like it didn't feel very British, the writing. There was none. It felt very like standard American rom-com.
Is she British?
Writing about English.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I thought. So I Googled the author thinking like, oh, well, she's an American writing about a Brit as usual. They don't know what they're talking about when it comes to like London prices and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
And the tone, because British writing tends to be a little bit, we're a bit more dry, aren't we? But apparently she is British.
So. Yeah, so I think more so it just felt, and I was casting my mind back to the types of books that I used to enjoy, in that kind of 15, 16, there was sex in it, but it was very kind of clean and very generic, and the story was, they were always sort of non-controversial. And I think if I was in that age bracket, I probably would have enjoyed it, because it would have felt, you disbelieve a lot of this stuff because you don't know, right? You haven't had any life experience. I think because I'm older, because it was so surface, like I just couldn't connect with it at all. And that's the saddest bit of it. I think most books I've read, even when I didn't like them, there was just something you'd connect to. Like you'd say, oh, I really like that character, or that was quite funny, and like there's just nothing. I don't know, but again, it goes back to like, is part of my annoyance that for me now reading has become such a like lovely escape. Yeah. And I've really, really enjoyed, particularly the last few months, I think I've really enjoyed what we've read. And I've also really enjoyed some of the recommendations I've picked up in genres I've never really ever stepped into. So obviously the romantasy space with Alicia and the whole like ACTA bubble that we've been in. I've really enjoyed that, and I really enjoyed all the colours of the dark. And I also feel like, because I'm obviously following a lot more kind of book talkers and bookstagrammers, I'm also starting to like weed out the ones that are not, so I guess weed in maybe is a better. So the ones that come up and they're like, I loved this one and I loved this one and I loved this one, and I'm like, follow. Like I love those as well. And so now I'm starting to get my side of romance that fits me, and this just firmly isn't in there. This is, and this, to be honest with you, this is what I pictured romance to be. Like when Sean was like, "Oh, I'm like reading another romance book, or I'm really into romance," there was a part of me that did a little eye roll of like, "Oh, like how can you read those books over and like,
Yeah.
they're the same thing over and over again?" But now I realize that's just not the case. But it's more now I understand the breadth of it. I'm now choosing where in that I want to go, and it's just not this.
Yeah, no, I mean,
I've
I totally wouldn't choose it either. But I
Yeah,
think
I've
for
actually found.
no, but I mean, for the club,
Yeah.
I can't choose a book because Sarah will just hate. She won't like the other ones.
It doesn't matter. Like if
Although-
I don't, I mean, let's face it. There's been
Yeah.
one book I've loved, and it was the crime one.
I mean, which is
Alicia
what you
wants to
like.
pick a book about fairies, so
Yeah. I fairies in. I find fairies in love more believable than. I think the characters are really badly written. I think that's the problem. I think it was some pretty naff writing. Like that. Yeah. I get a fairy with some depth, and maybe. Although I did say to Zara, I was like, you guys were all raving about this Akatar. I was like, would I like it? She's like, no.
no, you wouldn't.
Not for you.
Unfortunately,
I won't.
it's great, but it's not for you.
Yeah. I'm going on holiday tomorrow, and I've got a Gillian McAllister book that I
maybe
cannot
stick to
wait to read. A good old crime sort of legal drama. I'm so excited. Listen, if I find anything like that that's got a bit of love in it, it'll be that and the period dramas. But like I think what Zara just said there is probably quite true, isn't it? It's like finding where you fall within it,
Finding your niche, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm probably I didn't dislike it as much as Bride.
And you read this one quite quickly.
I did because
You had to
And
just
kept saying, "Don't take this as my feeling on the book."
don't take this as my feeling, because I was reading it. I kept saying like it's terrible, but it was easy to read, if that makes sense. Like whereas I was reading Bride going, it's terrible and God, it's a slug.
hard to read. Yeah.
Like, whereas this just, I mean, you could skim it, and I did skim some bits.
You didn't miss anything.
I mean, I did as well.
Yeah, and you didn't miss anything. Like,
yeah,
you could just read like a couple of lines off a couple of pages and be like, I don't know where we are. Like,
I did get emotional at one bit. I only got emotional at, well, I am also due on, so bear that in mind. I got emotional at the point where she finally realizes that she's actually got a lot of people in her life and she's got things to live for. Not just Cooper, not the whole Jonah thing, but just she's finally made friends and she's got Mr. Yoon, and she's realizing that, she has a lot of positive things in her life that she didn't realize that she had before because she was shutting them all out. And that moment where she realizes she doesn't want to die, but she's going to, because she's not going to get Jonah to kiss her. Right at the end.
Yeah.
I did get a bit emotional at that, because I was like, oh, do you know what? That's so sad that you finally got something to live for, and you are going to die, and there's like no way that you can stop
for me, I mean, I because I read The Midnight Library not that long ago, I felt like that was a complete rip-off of that.
Yeah, I suppose that is true.
Okay, so let's do scores on the doors. We might kick off as we started with Shani.
Don't judge me, but I'm giving it 4.
Fuck.
Zara's face.
Yeah, you are.
I did enjoy it.
You are.
I did, and I'm going to stand my ground, even though I had my issues with it. I enjoyed it. I gave it a 4.
Giving it the same as All the Colours of the Dark.
No, I gave All the Colours of the Dark 4.5.
There we go.
Okay. Sarah?
I wish I could go back in time and regrade Bride, because I liked this more than Bride, but I'm going to give it a mark less than Bride because I think I'm getting the hang of the whole grading thing. So I'm going to give it 1.5.
What did you give Bride? 2?
I think I gave Bride like 2 or 2.5, and Bride now should be a half for me, or a 1. Because I found this an easier read, but bad.
I feel like you gave Bride quite a low score.
It was, but I think I think I commended the fact that Ali Hazelwood was actually a decent writer.
Yes,
yeah,
you
you
did.
did.
So
Yeah.
I gave her marks for the fact that it wasn't as
That's true.
atrociously written. But I enjoyed reading this more than Does that make sense?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm just getting the hang of the scoring.
You are. Yeah.
There you go.
One and a half.
I just scored by vibes.
Yeah.
It's Malaysia.
Malaysia.
3.
Oh.
It's in the middle. It's middle.
It's not
Where
middle.
Sean's
There's upper middle.
It's sort of middle though. Like 2.5 is low.
2.5 is middle.
three.
To be very
No,
clear,
I know. Like
2.5 is the middle.
Oh no,
mathematically speaking,
I'm thinking
but
like the middle.
ratings
Sorry,
wise.
no, I'm thinking the middle star. No, middle star.
The middle star, yeah, is the third star out of
The
5
third
stars.
star out of 5. It's smack bang in the middle, Sarah.
But no,
The
but
middle
we have half
star.
stars. We
Yeah.
have half stars.
No, I don't do half stars. Fine. I'm gonna go full on 3. Round it up.
Do they?
My daughter is continuing to have an episode with her parents.
We hated the book
Hmm?
by osmosis.
Yep.
Yep.
How I felt about it, Mia.
I am gonna give it nothing.
No.
Can we do that?
I am.
If you want to.
Okay, I changed my mark for Bride.
I just can't find a single endearing thing in this book. And it's to the point that, number one, this cost me $34.99
What?
What?
because
Aussie dollars.
Aussie dollars.
Oh yeah, I'd be
Still,
annoyed.
Oh my
right?
god, Mia. Remember how I live in a different country?
$8.99.
And I want my money back. And also, yeah, I would not recommend it to anybody. Like, there's nothing in it that, and I actually feel duped. I feel gypped. I feel like I'm dumber for having read it, and I apologize to both of you who enjoyed it. This is not an indictment on either of you.
It's not me.
No, but I mean, like, everyone likes what they like. I think to Alicia's point before, I think I've now found my niche, and this is not it. I've also read some amazing, amazing writers in this space, and I was very much like prejudiced walking into the romance space, and I took the piss out of Sean for years about her sexy books. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, how many times did I literally refer to her books as like your sexy books, your porn books, whatever?
Yeah.
And so coming into the genre, and now having discovered absolutely brilliant and beautiful writing and characters that are complex and flawed and stories that are deep and they mean a lot. And yeah, sure, some of them are fairies, some of them are not. And actually, like, seeing what the amazing side of romance, like some beautiful and fantastic writing, this made me angry because this is the cliche that the world thinks when you say I'm a romance reader. This is what the world thinks that is, or the non-romance people think it is. And so it's fine, and some people will enjoy it, and it's an escape, and all of the things that we've talked about before. But I know now, I know better, and so I find that to be lazy and disappointing, and so yeah, just wouldn't recommend it to anyone. So no, I wouldn't even recommend it if you're in hospital and there's literally nothing else to do.
I definitely wouldn't recommend it when you're in hospital and you've got nothing else to do. You need a really good one. You need a really good one when you're in hospital. You're in hospital, you need all the colours of the dark. You don't, not the Love of My Afterlife, no.
You know what you need? You need what I'm reading at the moment, which is absolutely amazing. And it's
no, what I'm reading next week is amazing.
Okay. So, Shani, what are your predictions?
Oh, sorry. So I said Alicia 3, Sarah 1, Zara 1.5. So I was way off for Zara.
And you,
Sarah was only a bit off Alicia, I got.
Well done, Shani. You're very good at this prediction.
I'm pretty good at this.
To be fair, I would have thought that Zara would have thrown in a cheeky. I didn't realize that 0 was an option. So I would have thought a cheeky one for Zara would have been.
Yeah.
I would maybe go to half, because clearly, like, that some effort went into the actual writing of it, but no.
Did it?
I'm too harsh.
Oh, it was not good. Not good at all.
I do think there are cookie cutter romance that are written in ways that, like, really, like, transport you there, and that it's beautiful. Like, I love it. The ones that I posted the reviews on a little while ago, like, and they're all on our Instagram page. I loved those. I really, really enjoyed them. But the writing was
Better.
I'm sure it felt, honestly, when you read them, it was like you were enveloped by the English countryside, and you could smell the jasmine, and you could smell the lavender, and you could imagine the cottage and where it was and the village it was in. So I just want to be really clear that I'm not saying I don't want cookie cutter. I love it. In fact, I'm literally reading a book at the moment about I put it down to pick up The Women, which I'm
is it good? I've got it here,
yeah. But it was called something at Pumpkin Spice Cafe.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
I know. I was thinking about picking it, but the reviews aren't actually that great.
Yeah.
Like, I'm really enjoying it. It's beautifully written. The character from the get-go, you identify with her. It's got a nice story. I love the Gilmore Girls, so I knew I was going to enjoy the small town USA, like, you know, all of the unique characters, etc. So I just want to be really clear. Like, I'm not saying I don't want any of that. I'm saying that this was very substandard.
Whereas I don't think I've found one that I like that's cookie cutter. I think I just like romantasy, and I've not found, even with the Ali Hazelwood one, which was all right, the Love Hypothesis, I find them all the same. I don't, and I think that's just me. And like you say, maybe you find, I didn't think this was brilliant, but I don't think any of them were that good.
Sarah, do you want to
know
what we're reading now?
So the next book that I picked, so I was going to go with Sense and Sensibility, because you had bought me the special edition.
I did.
Everyone seemed a little less
enthused.
But then, off the back of some of the stuff I did and tagged Chris Whitaker in, a few other authors and stuff started following me off that. And one of them has a book out right now that then when I looked into it, it looks really good. And it's called The Orange House by Isabel Broom. That's what it's going to be.
The Orange House.
I will check it out. And I think it's a sort of a retrospective kind of romance. But it's definitely a romance. And it's one I've like picked. Just not for being silly. I've actually looked into it and gone, this might be nice for me to read.
So proud of you, Sarah. Well done.
Thanks. So it looks, so I'm going to order it while I'm away and start when I get back.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'll have a think about my next pick. If I can think of something Christmassy that's good, I'll go for that. If not, we're going dark, bitches.
This is a very surprising pick. This is like a whole go to Mallorca.
This is a poolside read, Sarah.
Mallorca, and they built a house. They go back. They get, they think they're going to break up. They go back to the house. They revisit their past relationship.
All right, well, I look forward to it. I'll get it.
It's like an actual romance book that's got.
It's a rom-com.
It's a rom-com. Like, do you know?
We're about to find out.
Oh God.
This might be the big surprise of 2024.
Who knows?
Yeah. All right, well, we'll get reading. We'll probably have a bit more news about our next podcast. We're trying to tee up a special guest to come and talk to us, but that one will be a little bit more around the perimenopause, menopause, growing up, what we learned, what it's like to be a woman, what it's like to be the next generation of emerging females. But yeah, watch out for that. We should have that in the next couple of weeks. Sarah is going on vacay, so she'll be back in a week, so there'll be little to no content, although Sarah's not a big book content.
I'll do, if you don't mind, a crime mini review. I'll do it about the book I'm going to read on holiday.
Dude, we don't care what the genre is. It's a book. Do a
Do
cookbook
it.
review.
No.
But otherwise,
I will do a Gillian McAllister book review.
Yeah. I've never read any of
For
the
the
books.
crime fans out there.
Book is a book is a book.
true. So thank you everyone for joining us again. I hope you enjoyed the review, and make up your own mind about whether you want to go and get the book. Thank you, Alicia, for your book selection. Sarah, I look forward to getting stuck into yours. And we'll see what the Christmas selection ends up looking like. I'm not sure how I feel about reading some dark romance while wrapping my daughter's
Unless it's Bad Santa,
wrong.
as Sarah says. Bad Santa.
Let's see how we go.
Going down the chimney.
Dark Santa romance. I bet there is one.
It probably
There probably is. Probably is.
I might even have a short story on my shelf.
Yeah.
For all I know.
Thank you so much for joining me, guys. Love you all lots and lots.
Love you.
Love it too.
Be good.
See you later.
Be careful.
Is it good?